Hey, True Believers, Englentine here. I wanted to talk about the whole Tom King Batman thing. And I found this article on Bleeding Cool. I always go to the ones I don't really agree with to argue and such. But there wasn't much to argue here, in all honesty. It says the morning after the Tom King Batman news broke, my thinking was, well, yeah, I do those countdowns, the top 10 comic books sold to readers, and they have little segments where the comic book shops come in and talk about what's been selling, what hasn't been selling, what's good, what's bad, what people have been saying to them. And in all honesty, people have been getting more and more disinterested with Batman. I have my own thoughts on the subject. One of the things they even say here in Bleeding Cool, the decision was justified by a softening Batman sales. And now, yeah, I heard this too, the Batman dipped to 86,000. I've never seen it dip that low myself either. One thing they did bring up was, well, who do you think would take over Batman after Tom King leaves? And Bleeding Cool points out it could be Brian Michael Bendis. No, I really would hate if that happens, especially considering Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are looking at The Last Night on Earth being their finale to their Batman work. So there's going to be 15 issues that were supposedly going to be mapped out by Tom King and who's going to take over for him. There's a lot of good writers if you let them go. There's a lot of good writers at DC, and I would like to see somebody like Tom Taylor. Dan Jurgens, I trust him for damn near anything, but you know what? Let's give it to Tomasi, and let's see how he would do. I think that would be a lot of fun. Dan Abnett, please, would be nice. One thing I do agree with Bleeding Cool also about is canceling the run now before you see what City of Bane and Year of the Villain might bring to the title is a little bit premature. I think so. That being said, I'm only talking numbers in that case. That being said, let's talk about Tom King and Batman. I've always thought Tom King was a hit or miss writer. That's just the way it is. But then again, I think about that way about all writers. There's nobody, even Neil Gaiman or Alan Moore, that I could point to and say, everything they wrote, I love. No, but not that comes to mind anyway. Maybe down the line I'll go, oh, wait, I like them. But no, there's no writer I could say that isn't hit or miss. But Tom King, on the other hand, the problem with that is that he seems to be one of those writers that put himself in the role rather than, he puts his voice into Batman rather than finds Batman's voice. And that's been going on for quite some time. I've lost the feeling that we've been reading a Batman book more than once while his run has been on. There's stuff I've enjoyed, stuff I didn't. Overall, it's an okay run, but in all honesty, I'm ready to get off the train, man. Seriously. I want somebody to come pick it up because Batman has lost its way. The title is not about Batman anymore. It's about this guy right here. I don't know what his name is, but you know what? It ain't Batman. There's a certain awesomeness to Batman. The whole point that he built himself up to be who he was. This isn't Batman. I don't get a Batman feel from Tom King's Batman. Now, you could say, as Richard Newby, I wanted to share this. This is a guy, let's see, he is a writer freelancer for hire, films, comics, video games. Okay, so he's a writer. I don't know if he's done anything huge or not. I'm not going to mention anything about his work or something. I just want to talk because I saw this tweet, and this isn't Twitter drama. I'm not going off, and I don't want, oh, Richard Newby's a dumbass. But he said something that I thought really needs to be discussed. It's something that I've seen a lot of modern-day comic book artists and writers, mostly for Marvel, say that I think it's part of what's being brought over to DC now. It's part of what's ruining DC. Last year, these countdowns were ruled by DC Comics. Now, it's hard for them to get on the list because they have taken over what Marvel used to do. Marvel's starting to put story first. Whether you like the story or not, that's the question, but Marvel has really started putting story first in politics and even identity politics second or not even at all. And so they've been reaping the benefits. And I do believe Immortal Hulk outsold the Batman title for the first time in forever. And so this Richard Newby guy says if DC Comics does end Tom King's Batman run early, it'll go down as one of the worst decisions in their publishing history. How disrespectful to the creators and the characters currently celebrating his 80th anniversary to do that. Tom King isn't really a part of the 80th anniversary of Batman. He is a writer, but it isn't tied in. It's not like, woohoo, we were always going to celebrate with Tom King. Batman's been around for 80 years and would have been around for 80 years no matter who is writing him right now. But that's not really the point that I'm trying to take. And it's not like there aren't a plethora of Batman titles for those who want something a bit more classic and straightforward. That's a BS thing. Oh, well, since this is like dying on the branch, we want to finish this dying story, but you don't get it because go read another book. Yeah, that doesn't fly, dude. It really doesn't. But here's the part. But Tom King's Batman work is necessary deconstruction of the character worthy of scholarly study. Here is the problem with modern-day writers. The deconstructionist era is what I want to call this era. Every superhero, Aquaman is going through a deconstruction with Kelly Sue DeConnick. Wonder Woman with, what's her name? I'm sorry, I'm not remembering her name. G. Willow Wilson. They're all going through deconstruction, and more so, they've been going through deconstruction for about 10 years now. And that's the problem. Hell, Captain Marvel is in a constant state of deconstruction. And in order for deconstruction really to work, you have to set who the character is. If you continue to deconstruct, you break them apart to the point where you lose the core of the character. And I believe that's happened here. I believe that has happened with Batman. It has been constant deconstruction for the last couple of years that they lost sight of who Batman really is. The whole point is you deconstruct them to the core of the character and then rebuild from there. But no, they have broken down Batman to the point where Batman is lost in his own book. The core of Batman is lost in his own book. That's why Tom King is not selling. That's one of the reasons why. But I think that's why Tom King is at fault here. The other person at fault, or the other entity, I shall say, is DC Comics. DC Comics is more at fault than I think Tom King is because of Batman number 50. Now, you could blame Tom King. You could say, well, he's the one that wrote the wedding issue, and therefore he's the guy, it's all down to him, blah, blah, blah. But DC Comics was the one that really sold it as the event of the year, and it's going to happen, and comic shops spent money on parties, and everybody was so certain this was going to go, and we were going to see a married Batman and Catwoman, and then they turn on the reader. And what's worse is the X-Men got to them the same storyline a week before, so we were already pissed at that. And it's like, oh, they turned on the reader. They lost reader trust. And from there, it's been a downward spiral. But that's what Warner Brothers did. That's what DC Comics did. Overall, though, I'm going to say it right now. We need the era of deconstruction to end. We need to get to know these characters. We need something to go past issue number 12 of a series. And yes, I know that's not Batman, but I'm talking about deconstruction as far as other series as well. They're writing for the trade so much that they don't care what happens beyond their story. Tom King says, I'm going to change Batman for an entire generation. Yeah, but so far, the people reading the Batman books haven't really been liking what you're changing him into. Batman is iconic. And the first rule, and this came from Mark Waid of all people, the first rule of comic book writing is do no harm. And I'm afraid with this, with Heroes in Crisis, with Batman number 50, Tom King and DC Comics has done a lot of harm. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? What do you think of this whole debacle? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you haven't done it already, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Helps keep making videos for you. Or go on over to the Amazon store and buy something. That way you get something and you help our channel out as well. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much.